7-202, 7-203, 7-204, 7-206, 7-207, so as to adopt the 2018 edition of the International Fire Code and the 2018 edition of the NFPA 101 Life Safety Code, and certain appendices, annexes as revised and amended as the official fire codes of the City of East Ridge, and to amend said codes regarding scope. Ordinance number 1095, an ordinance to amend Title 12, East Ridge City Code Chapter 4, Sections 12-402, 12-403, 12-404, 12-406, 12-407, 12-408, and 12-410, so as to adopt the 2018 edition of the International Fuel Gas Code and certain appendices as revised and amended as the official gas code of the City of East Ridge, to amend certain sections as they relate to fees and license requirements. Ordinance number 1096, an ordinance to amend East Ridge City Code, Article 12, Chapter 3, Section 12-301, in order to adopt the National Electrical Code of 2017 as the official electrical code of the City of East Ridge, and to revise certain language under Sections 12-306 regarding non-refundable fees. Ordinance number 1097, an ordinance to amend Title 12, Chapter 2, East Ridge City Code, Section 12-201 through 12-204, so as to adopt the 2018 edition of the International Plumbing Code as revised and amended as the official plumbing code of the City of East Ridge, and to amend and revise certain fees for plumbing permits. Ordinance number 1098, an ordinance to amend Title 12, East Ridge City Code, Chapter 8, Sections 12-801, 12-805, 12-806, and to revise certain sections so as to adopt the 2018 edition of the International Mechanical Code and certain appendices as revised and amended as the official mechanical code of the City of East Ridge, and to amend said code regarding scope of permits, permit fees, expiration, and violation penalties. Ordinance number 1099, an ordinance to amend Title 12, Building and Utility Codes, Chapter 9, Sections 12-901, 12-902, 12-905, and to revise certain sections so as to adopt the 2018 edition of the International Existing Building Codes as the official existing building code of the City of East Ridge. Ordinance number 1100, an ordinance to amend Title 12, Chapter 5, Sections 12-501 to 12-504, establishing the maintenance of all property, buildings, and structures, of providing standards for supply utilities and facilities and other physical things and conditions essential to ensure that structures are safe, sanitary, and fit for occupation and use, and the condemnation of buildings and structures unfit for human occupancy and use, and the demolition of such structures, known as the International Property Maintenance Code 2018 edition. Ordinance number 1101, an ordinance to amend Title 12, Chapter 7, Sections 12-701, establishing standards for the design, construction, or installation, alteration, repair, or alterations of swimming pools and spas, public or private, and equipment related thereto by adopting the International Swimming Pool and Spa Code 2018 edition.
Thank you, sir. This is the second final reading. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll second.
We have a motion from Vice Mayor Hilton, and we have a second by Councilman Chauncey. Do we have any discussion? Roll call, Ms. Middleton.
Vice Mayor Hilton.
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle.
Yes.
Councilmember Chauncey.
Yes.
Councilmember Webb.
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes. Item D.
Resolution number 2896, a resolution of the City Council of the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, authorizing the mayor and city manager to negotiate an agreement with the Chattanooga Red Wolves SC to take appropriate and necessary actions to implement new improvements, renovations, and enhancements of certain recreational and tourism facilities within Camp Jordan complex for the construction of a first-class soccer training facility. Mayor and Council, this resolution relates to, as we've spoke previously in council meetings, the city's efforts to explore a lease use agreement with the professional soccer team known as the Chattanooga Red Wolves SC. We reported back to you in January and in December. The proposed use of the field was envisioned to be those fields in the northern eastern section, which I believe there's one stadium there identified, I think is Osborne Field, and then another field that is an unused field but is in the long-range plan to be a future field. It just never has been. The Red Wolves approached the city back sometime around October, November, and the city took efforts to evaluate and investigate whether a use lease agreement was appropriate and could be accomplished in Camp Jordan. Since that time, we have done, and Councilman Cagle has provided historical information, institutional information as it relates to those fields and whether or not those fields are subject to any restrictions. There are restrictions as a result of land water conservation funds that were received in the 70s at the time the city acquired and developed Camp Jordan. As part of accepting the grant funds in the 70s, the city also agreed to deed restrictions for purposes of conserving those lands for recreational and public use. So navigating through that, we've been in really constant communication with TDEC over the last really 2 to 3 months, and we have also been in contact or aware that the National Park Services is now reviewing the proposed lease use agreement as proposed by the Red Wolves. The Red Wolves came in, I believe, in early December and demonstrated a presentation here as to the type of facility it would like to install and develop in this area, to the tune of somewhere around $1.5 to $2 million in that neighborhood. The idea was that the owners of the Red Wolves would use their own capital to make those fields, and the stadium that would seat around 1,500 to 2,000 fans for hosting of matches, both from the professional standpoint as well as amateurs, youth leagues, local regional tournaments. The TDEC contacted us this week and says that it's in the National Park Services review process. They don't know when it would be accomplished, that it would be finalized. What was then relayed to us is that the recommendation was if you want the cleanest process for this, you ought to go for what they call a conversion. The conversion is the word used by the National Park Services, but essentially it's you're converting the property out from underneath the restrictions. In other words, you take the property that you need, and in this case I think it's estimated to be somewhere 8, 10 acres, 10, 11, whatever, we'll just say 10 for discussion. 10 acres of land, to the extent that that's what the proposed fields or the training complex is going to be, then you've got to convert that out from underneath the restrictions, and there's a process. It's about a 9 to 12 month process to get the conversion going and get approval from the National Park Services, and they'll use TDEC as their agent to help with that process. And so as we talked with the TDEC representative, she said, Mark, the best thing is you ought to seek the conversion if you all want to go through with this. And so the purpose of this resolution is to bring forth to this body the approval to authorize the city manager and the mayor to engage in negotiations with the Red Wolves as to the development and construction of improvements in Camp Jordan for a soccer complex as envisioned by what the Red Wolves presented in December of 2018. It's allowing them to go and sort of make a determination of feasibility as to whether or not that can be accomplished, what's required of it, if there's a conversion, what's the cost. We do know there's a $10,000 fee to apply for the conversion, of which the Red Wolves have already said we're willing to front that for the city. We want to help the city. There was also a potential need to have to locate other lands, and it's my understanding that various developers in the area have already spoken up and said that they would be willing to identify lands to donate to the city to help facilitate the conversion, if the city decides that's the direction it wants to go. At first, I thought that conversion was a bad thing, as it relates to the granting of funds and saying, okay, we now want to turn our back on that. What we learned from TDEC and a call early this morning was the purpose of the conversion that TDEC, or that the National Park Services has purposely put in there, is to acknowledge and be aware of changing times. And they have grants dating back, I think the Land Conservation Water Act was adopted sometime in the late 60s. So it contemplated that times would change over 20, 30, 40 plus years. And she said today, she said, Mark, that's the purpose of it, is we recognize times change, and that's why you're allowed to, that's why we encourage conversions if it's in the best interest of the city. Not suggesting that we know one way or another, it's just, that's helped me at least come around to realize the conversion is potentially a very positive thing that the National Park Services offers, so that communities that have outgrown or perhaps have got a different purpose for the grounds than was contemplated 20, 30, 40 years ago at the time that the grants were obtained. So that's a long explanation to tell you that this resolution is an attempt to at least authorize the city manager and the mayor to engage in those negotiations to see if there's a feasibility to bring a professional soccer team to the city of East Ridge. I've done some research to try to evaluate, would it be something beneficial? I think that's something that the city manager and the mayor will look into and have looked into to see whether or not that would be a benefit for the city. And so this resolution authorizes them to go forward and engage in those discussions and explore whether or not a conversion is appropriate. If there's an agreement with the Red Wolves, what type of agreement would be beneficial and what type would be the best for the use of those fields on the northern eastern section of East Ridge, Camp Jordan, excuse me.
And Mark, both these avenues, when you state that it's in the hands of the National Park Service and then also with the potential conversion, these are going to run simultaneously.
We did learn today. Ms. Johnson told us today, she said it will stay in the review process for approval as it relates to the use of the fields. In other words, what's under review right now is whether or not the use proposed by the Red Wolves would be appropriate under the current restrictions that are on those properties. That being, the Red Wolves want to host tournaments of the professional league a couple times a year out there, and they also want to help revitalize those fields into playable conditions, but they also have their practices for their professional teams. They have said that would be Monday through Friday, really between 7 and 12 a.m. in the morning is when they use those fields. They're training at CCS right now, and to the extent that they're in town, I think they traveled last weekend, so they leave generally on Thursdays to play on Saturday. Their USL League consists of teams in Toronto, Ontario, Texas, Wisconsin, I think you've got Iowa, Greenville, South Carolina. There's 10 teams in this league. And so that's the question. They're looking for approval right now from TDEC and the National Park Service that their use that they come up now for the practice would be approved. If that's approved, they could do that if the city would desire for that. But at the same time, we can still explore the conversion at the same. So we've got two parallel paths that are being considered.
Yeah, there was a lot of detail that went into over the last several months. A lot of conversations back and forth with Mark, myself, with representatives from Red Wolves, and we were able to. They actually had us identify a hypothetical schedule for one calendar year on field usage. The one thing that the state was happy to see is that the amount of use that's in non-park hours. Their focus really, truly, after 3 to 5 o'clock in the afternoon. That's where they focus. That's what they consider peak park hours. They don't as much worry about what goes on prior to that time. So we were able to do a schedule, a hypothetical schedule for the calendar year based on clinics, recreational use, youth organizations, and as you all know, this body voted within the last 2 meetings to partner with the Red Wolves as it relates to our recreational soccer program, and that is underway, and I believe they've already issued the first sponsorship check.
Yes, sir.
That's all.
That's all to answer other questions that the body has.
Yes, do you have questions, council?
I would like to see us notify the neighborhood down here, get their opinion on it by the picture that I was sent. That extra field is gonna be put right behind 5 or 6 or 7 of those houses. It's gonna butt right up to their property lines. The ones that I talked to down there, they said they were against it. The property didn't belong to them, so they had no control over the property. But they do have concerns about, they asked me if there will be lights put on that field. Told them I didn't know, I hadn't heard. And, well, the whole complex is gonna be fenced to where they keep people off of their properties coming up into their backyards, stuff like that. And,
I can speak to the fencing. There's been no discussion about lighting those fields. It was just going ahead and constructing doing grass fields as more practice opportunities. And then as far as fencing for protection, yes, that would not be an issue of making sure we keep them off, people off private property.
that was the questions that they asked me. Now, I've got a list of questions, but I'll wait till this thing gets finalized before I ask these other questions. Because it's something that needs to be put in contract, what I'm interested in.
Yeah, any other questions, council? I think this is a very, I'll interject while y'all are thinking, if you have any questions, a very great opportunity that is being offered to our city, and the investment that the Red Wolves are willing to put into the city. They're wanting to locate here, the economic development that it would bring, I believe is just amazing. Do we have any other questions? Need to say.
Yeah, I agree. This is definitely, I think, probably a launching pad for the city of East Ridge economically. You know, we need the growth, we need the foot traffic in there to fill our hotels and promote the restaurants that all the citizens have been asking for so long. And, you know, we've missed so many opportunities in the past, so this is definitely one opportunity that I don't want to pass up. So whatever, you know, if it's in the best interest of the city, I'm in favor as well.
Well, if you don't mind me adding, one thing that I'd like to add is the owner, Mr. Martino. You know, we talk about development and how we can move things forward, and that's going to be fantastic. But one thing that is his main focus is his ability to get back to the youth programs. And I think that speaks volumes for what they're trying to accomplish. To go ahead and sign this agreement, working with our recreation programs, the coaching clinics, helping parents that want to coach soccer that are scared to, giving them the ability to be able to do that. I think it's a great partnership from, obviously, I'm a soccer fan, so I'll stand and admit that.
Somebody told me that they said, what would you do if the Chattanooga Lookouts wanted to leave Chattanooga and come to East Ridge? I'd say, heck yeah, you know, so obviously it's really no different. They actually, it's probably more of an upscale facility or sport, I guess. It's just,
I believe that's already been discussed once.
but,
Chattanooga Lookouts.
did I miss that?
Yeah, year or so ago.
That's one by.
Okay.
But I agree, Mr. Martino is willing to definitely put back into the community toward the children's with the rec league and with the training facility and the academy to have the coaches trained and participate. I'm sorry, Vice Mayor Hilton, make a motion.
I'll say.
We have a motion by Vice Mayor Hilton and a second by Councilman Johnson. Any other discussion? Roll call, Ms. Miller, please.
Vice Mayor Hilton. Yes. Councilmember Cagle.
Yes,
Councilmember Chauncey.
Yes.
Councilmember Webb.
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes. Thank you. All right, that concludes old business. We will move into new business. First item is public hearing for ordinance number 1102, a use review. I will open this public hearing. Please, come on, sir, come on up. You have a presentation?
Well, I don't know about a presentation, but Mayor Williams and the council, pleasure to hear you tonight, all of you as well.
Sir,
Did y'all receive?
can you check and see if the light's on the bottom?
Is that better?
That's better.
That's better. Pleasure.
Introduce your name and-
Daniel Von Hagel with Pro Signs Inc., out of Birmingham, Alabama.
Thank you.
Jim Avery, the Director of Development with Jackson Family Restaurant, is here present tonight. Did you all receive the applications and drawings, kind of what we were kind of looking to do with this use on review request?
Yes, I believe they're in the packet.
Okay.
Everyone have it?
Very good. I mean, ultimately, the request is centered around trying to erect a 20-foot overall height monument-style freestanding sign right here about a block away, across the street from the Speedway at the new Jack's Family Restaurant. I know, Jack's, myself, being super excited to be here in East Ridge. So when we were looking at this, our standard pylon sign is a 35-foot overall height pole sign with a lollipop, kind of emblem for the sign face, and then a 4x8 standard reader board, put a changeable copy information on it. That's just kind of standard throughout. We understand that the new ordinance in the past in East Ridge here recently that any exposed pole is not allowed. And we get that. I mean, I was just driving down when I got into town on Ringgold Road going toward 75, and there's just a lot of pole signs. There's a lot going on right there, so I can see why that change was definitely made. I did go down to one of our competitors, which is Chick-fil-A, and saw that they had, someone similar that we designed, that we're trying to get, put a tape measure on it. It came right in at 20-foot overall height, and it's got that same kind of monument, look that I think the city's trying to go for. So, I mean, ultimately, we're looking for the exact same thing that Chick-fil-A has. That freestanding sign, the same size, which would be built with brick, very similar to what the design of the building will be. And of course, it'll be right over here. I know you'll probably see it under construction. With us being new in town and trying to get more involved up here in southeast Tennessee, we've got one location in Chattanooga, a couple other ones coming up around this area. We would just kind of like to have a fair shot and a good-looking sign to try to draw some people from East Ridge in to give us a shot. That's basically what we're looking for.
Okay.
Yes, sir. In Lookout Valley, I know you have Jack's.
Yes, ma'am.
How high is the sign in Lookout Valley?
That's a good question, Jim.
I believe, man, that's our standard size. That's probably a 30-foot tall sign, without my knowledge.
Thank you. Is there anyone, since this is a public hearing, is there anyone that would like to approach that is for or against this use on review? Okay, that's a problem.
Charles McCollum, 1214 Reeves. I just want to say, I feel like some thought went into our standards, and there's really no point having standards if we didn't have a variance everybody passed. I feel like there's a lot of discussion about like the but-for test with pilot programs and stuff. I feel like if we want to make that side of town look good, we could apply a similar thought process to variances and things. And I mean, construction's already started. It's not like they're going to say, oh, we can only have a smaller sign. We're just going to throw all away. Oh, that's it.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else? Sam, did you want to add?
So in your sign package, over the last, let's just say, last 25 stores, 10, 20 stores you've done, and I mean, there's certain areas, obviously, really in the state of Georgia. Are you in Georgia much?
We have about 50 restaurants.
Okay. How many of those are monument style signs?
True monument style sounds like this, quite honestly. We have a small sign, smaller height sign, Daniel knows the details, that we just erected in Chickamauga. That's a sign maybe 50 feet, similar size, sign cabinet. But that's not a pole, that is not a marking sign.
Yeah, you talk Battlefield Parkway?
Yes. The other restaurants that are in Georgia are also older, but they can probably fall under, different types of circumstances. But they're all full signs of probably most likely that third one. Most of the restaurants we opened 14 new Jack's restaurants across our roller state footprint. And I believe that the one in Chickamauga was the only one that wasn't on the whole signage. Most all were somewhere between 25 and we had some almost 50.
One thing unique about East Ridge is we're one of the most densely populated cities in Tennessee, if not the most densely populated, so we're stacked.
Yes.
And when we sat down with RPA 6 years ago and started coming up, it took us 2 years to develop the ordinance. From the citizens, the main concern moving forward was sign proliferation. And how do we eliminate that? How do we come up with the attractive nature? So we base that on standards that we are currently used within our city buildings and what was out here. So that's how the sign standards were actually developed. The Chick-fil-A sign was the first sign to actually go before a variance committee. Their presentation was solely based on their interstate traffic. Of being able for somebody to recognize it from I-75. However, their height still doesn't allow anybody to recognize it from I-75. That's all I do.
Well, I'm very happy to have y'all here, but I'm gonna have to go to deny that, so I would like to make a motion to deny.
Well, we need to close out of the public hearing, and then we'll move into the ordinance, and you'll have that opportunity. Is there anyone else that would like to come forward during the public hearing? For or against? All right, I will close this public hearing, and then we will, thank you. Then we'll move into item E.
In ordinance, the City Council of the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, to allow construction of an on-premise sign on a tract of land located at 4209 Wrinkle Road in accordance with ordinance number 1028, Title 14, Chapter 2, Article 6, Section 108G, and ordinance 481, Article 4, Section 105.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So with all that being said, currently our sign regulations limits your monument and ground signs at 9 feet. So obviously, Jack's is only go 20 foot higher, 20 foot, which would make it 11 foot higher than our regular standard sign ordinance. That's all I have.
I have one question.
Yes, sir.
Have there been any other signs other than Chick-fil-A's been put in that's higher than 9 foot since the ordinance was passed?
No, sir.
The Hampton was the last one to make the request.
And it hit 9 foot as well. And you propose Starbucks will also hit it as well.
All right, do we have a motion for?
I make a motion to deny. I second.
All right, we have a motion to deny from Vice Mayor Helton. We have a second from Councilman Witt. Do we have any other discussion?
Yeah, I just also want to thank you, gentlemen, for your willingness to invest in this city. We're very happy to have you here. I do agree with Mr. Custer's reasoning behind it, that given a variance for someone who's trying to pull interstate traffic, but a 9 foot sign, you're not going to have any problem getting visibility with the residents of East Ridge coming up and down Ringo Road. If that was a problem, then we may consider, I would maybe consider a variance, but again, I just want to thank you for being here. We're really excited, so I'm glad to see you move forward.
I will convey the same. We're very excited to have you here. I think you'll do well, and the city will support you But I also agree, we put the standards in, the ordinance in to reduce the sign proliferation, like you were saying, and I'll have to agree that we'll deny, but we have a motion, we have a second. Any other discussion? To deny that is. Roll call, Ms. Middleton?
Vice Mayor Hilton,
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle,
Yes.
Councilmember Chauncey,
Yes.
Councilmember Webb,
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes. Sorry. The ordinance was denied.
Resolution 2898, a resolution of the City Council of the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, setting rental rates for the baseball and softball field at Camp Jordan Park.
Yes, Mayor and Council, staff has researched baseball and softball rental contracts for neighboring parks, and we've determined that a fee structure adjustment is needed to align our city with neighboring parks, mainly in the Tennessee Valley. So we're asking that you approve updated rental contract.
Do we have a motion for resolution 2898?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second. Okay, we have a motion from Councilmember Wood and a second from Councilmember Chauncey. Yes, sir, question.
I got one question I didn't ask last time. I noticed that our, during soccer, we got overflow of soccer yard, using the softball fields for soccer fields, practice fields. Are you going to rent those to the soccer program at the same rate as softball, baseball?
I believe that we've been charging for use of the fields outside the contract, so it would fall under this.
Supposed to be the same price as these.
Any other questions? Roll call, Ms. Middleton.
Vice Mayor Hilton,
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle,
Yes.
Councilmember Chauncey,
Yes.
Councilmember Webb,
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes. Item D.
Resolution number 2899, a resolution of the City Council of the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, to waive the fee for use of East Ridge Community Center by the Chattanooga Autism Center in honor of Autism Awareness Day.
Mr. Wilson, do you have anything to add?
That's basically it. The Chattanooga Autism Center is just requesting that waive the fees for use of the community center for the autism.
Great program opportunity. Do you have a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
We have a motion from Councilwoman Witt and second by Vice Mayor Hilton. Do you have any discussion? Roll call, Ms. Middleton.
Vice Mayor Hilton,
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle,
Yes.
Councilmember Chauncey,
Yes.
Councilmember Webb,
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes. Item E.
Resolution 2900, a resolution of the City Council of the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, to waive the fee for use of the East Ridge High School football stadium by Jones Memorial United Methodist Church for an Easter egg hunt.
I believe this is a recurring event at a lot of the city attends. Great opportunity for the kids to come out and have an egg hunt. Been involved in it for several years. Do we anyone make a motion for 29?
To approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve by Councilwoman Chauncey and a second by Councilperson Witt. Do we have any discussion? Roll call, Ms. Middleton.
Vice Mayor Hilton,
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle,
Yes.
Councilmember Chauncey,
Yes.
Councilmember Webb,
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes. Item F.
Resolution number 2901, a resolution of the City Council, of the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, appointing members to the East Ridge Personnel Board.
I take it that everyone has their appointment for the personnel board. City attorney, do we want them to list all of their appointments and we'll do a vote for the entire body, or do we want to do them individually?
Well, arguably, each council member has the unilateral right to appoint, so it's not necessarily an approval of this body that they're appointing. Similar to the other, what this resolution will do will memorialize the appointment by the respective council members. So we only need one vote on it. But each of the council members just announce who it is they want to put for the current, or for the upcoming 2019 through 2020 personnel board.
All right, we'll start with Vice Mayor Hilton, your appointment.
Yes, I'm going to appoint Charles McCullough, and thank you for your willingness to serve.
Councilmember Cagle.
Doris Rogers. I thank her for being willing to do this thing.
Councilmember Johnson.
Reappoint Robert Jones.
Councilmember Witt.
I'm going to reappoint Colleen Lieberman, and I want to thank her for serving the last time.
And I will reappoint Jackie Berry, which I appreciate her willing to serve previously and her willingness to serve again. So we have the appointments. Do we have a motion to memorialize these appointments?
I make a motion to memorialize these appointments.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Witt, a second by Councilmember Chauncey. Do we have any discussion? Roll call, Ms. Middleton.
Vice Mayor Hilton,
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle,
Yes.
Councilmember Chauncey,
Yes.
Councilmember Witt,
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes. Item G.
Resolution number 2902, a resolution of the City Council of the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, authorizing the city to donate $500 each to the Spring Creek Elementary School for their student incentives program.
Council, this is an annual participation and donation that we usually do. It's a great cause to give back to our schools. Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Witt, a second by Vice Mayor Hilton. Do we have any discussion? Roll call, Ms. Miller.
Vice Mayor Hilton,
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle,
Yes.
Councilmember Chauncey,
Yes.
Councilmember Witt,
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes. We have one other item H, that we move forward from our agenda work session.
Resolution number 2903, a resolution of the City Council of the City of East Ridge, Tennessee, authorizing the city manager to approve the attached change order request from Premier Fence LLC to add 24 dugout gates to fields 1 through 12 at Camp Jordan Park.
Ms. Mayor, Council, as I mentioned in the work session, Premier Fence has submitted a $10,280 change order to add 24 dugout gates to fields 1 through 12 at Camp Jordan to secure the fields, and so we're asking that you approve the change order.
Do we have a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
I second.
We have a motion by Vice Mayor Hilton and a second by Councilmember Witt. Do we have any discussion? Roll call, Ms. Middleton.
Vice Mayor Hilton,
Yes.
Councilmember Cagle,
Yes.
Councilmember Chauncey,
Yes.
Councilmember Witt,
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Yes. That concludes our agenda session. I thank everyone for their patience. I know it's been a long evening. I will ask that, with our press individuals, if they would, possibly if they could secure any publication of the candidate questions and their answers, so it does not give the next three, which we're having a interview session tomorrow, 5 o'clock. We'll interview the next three candidates. I would like for them not to have any privileged information and can prepare for the questions. If you would please honor that. Thank you very much. Meeting adjourned. Have a great evening.